Hello, Proxy Table Gaming fans. PTG are here, Lucky Sixes, and G at your service.
Buenos dias.
You must have done that one at some point in our nearly, 4 and a bit years now.
Quite
Yeah,
possibly.
yeah.
Comment where the last person.
The last time you did Buenos Dias, yeah. Cool. Round four,
Round
Massacre.
4 massacre. The
Yeah,
it's crunch time, baby.
it is crunch time. It's now or never in terms of if you want to qualify, you have to do it in round four. Because if you leave it later than that, you're not qualifying. Pretty much. So Group B, Massacre Group B, is looking interesting in that Luke Williams is at the top with 44 points,
Smashing it.
and I managed to beat him in round three, so that evened that out a little bit. Uh, in second place is Trent, who is my opponent in this battle, on 33 points,
Ooh.
ahead of me on secondary points only because I am also on 33 points. So I'm in joint second, but behind Trent. Then very closely to that with 30 points is Ollie, who was Infernal Dwarfs, and I beat in round two. And then still in contention, technically, is Paul on 23 points. So there's only actually 21 points separating first from fifth. So going into round four, it was all to play for. What I was a little bit disappointed, gutted by, was Trent was actually on 13 points at the end of round two and got a 20-0 in his round three
Smashed it.
to put himself in contention, beating the spare player in Group A. And actually had done convincingly. Trent told me that he won his game in round three in like at the start of his turn two because his opponent gave up. So damn it!
Which meant we had a dread elf off for
It did
basically
mean we had
second.
yeah, or first because Ollie plays against Luke. So first place fourth and second place third.
Sure.
So it was all to play for. One thing that I was looking at is I hadn't played against Trent in the group and I hadn't played against Paul. I was really hoping that somehow I would end up playing against Paul because list-wise, I think my list is much better against Paul's list. Obviously, Paul's a very good opponent, so I'm not saying I would win. But it's a combat list Paul was taking with the Asklanders, whereas Trent's Dread Elves, well, we'll see those in a second.
We'll see.
It is refuse flank and hold the ground, so standard kind of objectives, diagonal deployment, and get that center. I do have some combat blocks to hold the center with, so that's not terrible. But there was one little itty bitty extra reason that this scenario may be a little bit tricksy.
Burn, baby.
Burn, baby, burn. So yes, a wizard may choose to change their path for this game to either pyromancy or alchemy. This does not affect wizard conclave. It's just standard wizard apprentice, adepts, and masters. Any aegis against fire does not work during this game. So I don't have any aegis against fire. So forget that part.
As a clarification as well, because this came up in the Discord, it's only the fire specific aegis. So if you've got
Yes.
a 5-up aegis or a 2-up versus flaming, you would still get the 5-up aegis.
The 5-up. Yes, you would. But you wouldn't get the 2-up.
So it's not if you do
fire,
fire, you don't get an aegis. It's just the flaming specific aegis is not.
Indeed,
not there.
indeed. So I've obviously got 4 adepts, none of which have pyro. So I could choose pyro myself, but I kind of like my 4 adepts with 4 different paths. And as much as burning elves is kind of a pyromancy thing, I didn't really see that it benefited me too much.
Fireball.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a consideration, taking all 4 of my adepts on pyromancy and just all taking fireball. But anyway, I'm stalling because basically my list, I didn't go with any pyromancy because I did like my 4 adept setup with the different laws. And yeah, that's my list. The 2 Krakens, 2 Black Cloak units, Harpies, Divine Altar, don't know why I'm going for bomb. 2 Dread Knight units, Spears, Temple Militants, Selecting Officer BSB with nothing, 2 Outcasts, and 2 Exarchs. Yeah, you know all about the list. Let's move on. Okay, Trent's list. I never played against Trent. I was really looking forward to this.
Yeah.
We kind of talked to each other at Tech last year and said to each other, we need to have a game. And hey presto, Massacre delivered. Um, so what's he got? He has got a Warlock Outcast on a Manticore, Wizard Master, normally with Evocation, which Trent very quickly swaps for Pyromancy.
Not today.
I mean, I think, having only Adept meant that the whole burn rule wasn't as effective for me. Unless I made all of them Pyromancy. So obviously, if you only have 2 spells on Pyromancy, they can be dispelled, or 1 can be dispelled.
Yeah, you need a few of you.
Do a lot.
But, yeah.
So you need more spells available in Pyromancy. So it is suited better to a wizard, I think. Got 2 up armor save, Binding Scroll, which is obviously handy as well, and Lightning Band Braces for the Hand of Heaven. So yeah, pretty. I mean, Evocation is actually quite dangerous to me as well if he'd stuck with it, because he can snipe out my characters. But Pyromancy is burn elf, burn. You got your Dread Prince. This is funnily enough, actually. I said to Trent it was quite an interesting list, and we just talked about where he came up with it and everything. He just said, "Oh, this is just a version of Craig's Masters list." He was like, I just copied it and changed it slightly. I was like, "Oh, okay, fair enough." So anything that involves Craig is probably quite good. So yeah, his Dread Prince is pretty much plucked straight from Craig's list. So fighty Dread Prince. He's also got a Selecting Officer on a horse as well, and that is rocking some magic resistance, which is really cool.
Both of them do. So they're both 2 or 4 together. So
exactly, two separately or 4 together. He's got his core, which is the Shadow Riders, which is just lethal with repeater crossbows, which obviously will make Pyromancy even worse for me because he's following up with crossbow shots.
Yeah, man.
2 units are very good. 15 spears. That unit is so good. 15 spears. It's so good. Love that unit, and that's probably why people aren't taking militants. Those 2 core units combined there. That is pretty much the good setup for Dread Elves, although I am trying something different. Some Warlock Acolytes with the spells. Not sure what he chose. I might remember in a minute. 2 units of Dread Knights. So my 2 units of 5 is trumped by his 2 units of 8. And obviously he's got his characters
both got
as well.
lances as well. So.
Yeah, exactly. So 3 Gorgons. Obviously, quote Craig, if you're not taking Gorgons, you're playing Dread Elves wrong. Oops. So we'll see how they get on. And then 3 repeater batteries, as if there wasn't enough shooting as well.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
And that's 24 strength 5 shots alone. So
yeah, exactly. My Krakens are in trouble with that.
Yep.
Yeah, so you can see why I wanted to go into Paul's combat list, because this is a gun line with no fun in the line. Not for me, anyway. So yeah, I wasn't feeling confident going into this one, I'll be honest. And this is deployment on the refused flank. Start with mine. I've got my black boats on the flank. Trent did very well to protect his war machines from easy shooting. And I basically just looked at that side and thought to myself, if I'm going to stand any chance, I can go for that war machine. But realistically, Shadow Riders just obliterate my black cloaks, even with -1 to hit. Just the amount of shots just destroys them. So really, I'll have to see if I get an option with them. In the forest, I've got a unit of Dread Knights. They are the ones without the spears, the lances. Then I've got Temple Militants with the Crucible of Slaughter in there, in the field. It's a really interesting map, actually.
A lot of the B maps are.
Yeah, they're quite funky. Then we've got Kuloth. Behind them, we've got the Spears, another unit of Militants, and Krasnar, either side of the Militants. So I'm using the whole Mask of the Warcrow 6-inch to reroll my 1s to wound, which I haven't really made too much of in this tournament. Then they've got the Dread Knights with the Lances and the Harpies behind them. What's Trent got? That unit on the left is a unit of Shadow Riders. Then he's got a repeated crossbow, Shadow Riders up top. 2 units of Shadow Riders on the line, actually. Then he's got 1 unit of Selection Spears in front of the other. 1 unit of Dread Knights with the 2 characters in, so they're magic resistance 4, which I've forgotten numerous times. And Trent said, "Are you sure you want to cast on them?" And I was like, "Oh no, can I cast on someone else?" And he was a gent about it. It was pretty good. Although technically, maybe he was just making me not cast on them by reminding me. Maybe I needed to power them through. Yeah,
Trent's power play.
Absolutely. Repeater bolt thrower behind. There's his manticore with now pyromancy magic, which means he's large, so we can see over stuff as well, which is really cool. The acolytes are in the back, then a unit of dread knights, and behind the forest on that side is the gorgons. And gorgons have agility 10, AP 10, attack. So against dread knights, that's not ideal for me.
It's 2 per gorgon, I think.
Possibly. I thought
you hit your wound on a 4.
Yes, that's
if
right.
If you're standard, 5 if you're large, 6 if you're gigantic.
Yeah, so cavalry lose out on that because obviously they're only standard size.
Yeah.
Despite being tall. I go first. I know that I'm going to a sandstorm of arrows and fire, so I need to kind of get on with it. So I push my militants up. Interestingly, Trent didn't vanguard because he knew I had turn 1, and he didn't want to waste his shadow riders really in a vanguard chaffing thing. He's more than happy for me to come to him. He knows I have to, so there is that. I don't move my Krakens and militants on the right too far forward because of the dread knights charging. I don't really want to get charged by dread knights, and I know that he's going to be chaffing me whatever I do, so there's not going to be anything juicy for me to get. The dread knights from the forest make their long journey round the building because I know that they're kind of like not overly well deployed on the left side. My black cloaks couldn't get close enough to do any shots to the shadow riders, so they stay away for the time being. And yeah, I'm just kind of like moving forward with one militant and zoning with the rest really, and seeing what he does, because I can't really touch him from range very, very well. I get know an enemy.
Out of interest, when you put down the black cloaks, you knew you had first turn, right?
Yeah.
So why weren't you a bit closer to the shadow riders?
Because they could vanguard. I thought they would.
But then you could shoot them.
True. Good point. Did I know I had first turn? I think I did.
I imagine you dropped for first.
Yeah, probably. I don't know, actually. It's an interesting one.
I don't know what... I guess you're defending against his shooting, right?
Yeah, unless this is a weird battle where the first turn flipped unexpectedly. No, we did drop 1 and 1 for a while. I didn't drop for first.
Okay.
I definitely didn't drop for first. Maybe this is one of those weird occasions, because I remember having that discussion with Trent where we talked about how me and Tony had a battle ages ago where he rolled a 1 and I rolled a 6 and first turn changed. So I did have that conversation with Trent. So maybe something like that happened.
Sure.
Where first turn flipped. And it was kind of like, oh, great, now I've got first turn.
Okay.
Or I made an error there. But I don't remember thinking it was an error. I think it was just one of those things I couldn't do.
Fair enough.
Yeah, maybe. I get another enemy on the militants, just in case he wants to charge that middle Dread Knight unit into my militants, because that middle one with his characters can very much charge between his Shadow Riders and get in if they want to. But with no line enemy, they might think twice, because I'm now strength 4, which is obviously a lot better. And I have got my Alchemy Wizard in there, so Dread Knights would be re-rolling their armor saves.
Sure.
But I did need Know Thine Enemy in order to get my agility high enough to attack first. So it's a great spell for me in that position, really. Good, yeah. It really would hopefully put off the Dread Knights. Although, secretly, I'm actually kind of thinking I want the Dread Knights to charge me now, because I will kill them if they do charge me.
Yeah. It's odd, because without the spell, you don't want them to charge, but with it, you do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Then, excuse me, that changes his approach. So.
Yeah, exactly. I also get the Hereditary spell off, which I haven't really used a lot in the tournament. Which is an 18-inch bubble. If he does wounds to anything within 18 inches of my outcast, I do hits back to him. And I'm thinking, as he's shooting me, if I can get that bubble off, anything he shoots me, I might wound him back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which really actually is quite useful. Yeah. What it does mean, you do have to use your own Veil token in order to do it, though. And I only have 2 Veil tokens in the pool, I think, so I don't have a lot of scope to do it.
Yeah, it's not like it's a different version of the high elf one, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So there's that. Into his turn, yes, because I don't think. Yeah, there's no shooting on my turn. He does 2 wounds to the Kraken. Is that Krasnar? With his repeater bolt throw. You can see he hasn't moved a great deal with his main block, but what he has done is chaffed with 1 unit of Shadow Riders, chaffing pretty much everything.
Yeah.
I can't really defend against that. Like, that's just what they can do when they go in conquer and they stretch out like that. So yeah, he starts doing wounds with his units. Let's see. Oh yeah, the other Shadow Riders somehow squeezed through that gap between the House and the Militants and are now in my rear. And obviously, I didn't think they could do that, so I don't have a counter charge there. Like even my Dread Knights in the forest could have been facing that way.
Sure.
I expected it.
Yeah.
So that was annoying. He does 1 wound to this Kraken. Don't know if that's shooting or whatnot. I think I'm sort of combining it. Actually, this might be magic. He might be doing just magic at this stage.
Did you use any of the Veil tokens that you know of?
Not yet. But yeah, this must be magic actually, because he's pyroing me.
Sure.
I think it's the Krakens who are taking wounds from pyro, which was an interesting choice actually, because obviously it's only strength 4, but I think he was doing the blaze on them.
Yeah, sure.
Which obviously is high strength. More wounds. It's hard to remember exactly what's doing the actual wounds, but he's got such a in-depth magic and shooting phase. So another wound to that Kraken. It was like alternating while he was shooting, doing more and more. This can't only be moving. It must be moving on to some shooting. Over here, he moves his Shadow Riders behind the obstacle and 1 black cloak.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bit of a battle there. And that -1 to hit is obviously making it not kill too many. So I'm still alive, technically. And more shooting from the bolt thrower. Kills 1 more. Could be worse.
Yeah.
So into my turn, and this is where I need to talk about the hereditary spell, because it was very interesting. Because I had seen something that could really work in my favor. In that, I had my hereditary spell off, and these Shadow Riders that were in front of my line, they had repeater crossbows, right? And so I saved my hereditary veil tokens so that when those repeater crossbows shot forwards in a throwaway shot on something, I would do my hereditary and kill the last Shadow Rider, which would mean my militants were then able to charge forward.
Sure.
Because they wouldn't be chaffed anymore.
Right.
And I was waiting, and purely by coincidence, Trent left those Shadow Riders till the last unit to shoot. And I was thinking, Trent's clocked this. He knows that he shouldn't shoot with that unit, because if he doesn't shoot with that unit, I'm chaffed. If he does shoot with the unit, I'm triggering my hereditary, and I'm not chaffed anymore.
Sure.
And
yeah.
Trent must know, because he's leaving this unit till last. And then his last unit to shoot, he shoots with the Shadow Riders. And I'm thinking to myself, yes!
Yeah, sure.
I'm triggering my hereditary. I actually excitedly tell Trent, awesome, you're shooting with them. I'm triggering my hereditary. And Trent was like, I know, but I need to do wounds in order for you to trigger your hereditary. I was like, oh. And of course, he doesn't shoot at the Kraken, which he actually has a half a chance of doing wounds to. He shoots at the 2-up Dread Knights and doesn't do a single wound.
Yeah.
And my excitement at triggering that hereditary is completely wasted. I don't trigger my hereditary as a result of that, because I was waiting the whole turn to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm still chaffed. And I didn't have a clue how to deal with this now. I was really hoping my militants would be free. So I charged my harpies into the flank of the Shadow Riders, thinking that they can overrun and chaff him if the harpies roll decently on their overrun.
Yeah.
And I charge my militants into the rear, because I just need to make sure those Shadow Riders are gone, and then just turn and face to whatever comes at me. And again, the plan is to magic up those militants so that he doesn't fancy a counter charge. But obviously, he can just pyro and shoot me if he wants without ever engaging them. So I need to get on with killing chaff anyway. I can't sit there doing nothing. I was tempted to charge absolutely everything into the Shadow Riders and overrun with absolutely everything and just saying, let it ride. But I felt this was enough. charging, really. Although I can't move very far without overrunning. So, and this is how it looked at the end of the charge. So yeah, Harpies get in, the militants get in the rear. I move my 3 remaining black cloaks to try and pop off a few wounds on that bolt thrower, while the other unit just sits back. And you're right, I have lost my chance now to shoot Shadow Riders, or at least if I move forward, they're behind the obstacle now, so they've got cover. So I've missed my chance. The Dread Knights continue their slow move around the building. I'm not really thinking of them doing much until they actually get in a position. But I wasn't marching because I didn't want to get big DTs in the forest.
Sure,
I was preserving their points as much as anything. They haven't got lances, so they're not.
Are they fearless?
No, they're only fearless in combat.
Sure.
I turn my spears to face the Shadow Riders, just in case they stay there, which they probably won't.
Mm-hmm.
And I move both my Krakens out of pyro range and out of repeater bolt throw range.
Yeah.
I've lost like 6 wounds out of 10 on them. I'm not going to do a lot with them, especially as they can't move forward. If I move towards the Gorgons, I die. If I move towards the Dread Knights, I die. If I stay where I am, I get pyroed and shot. They're dead. Those Krakens, can't do much.
Yeah.
And the militants just move forwards as far as they can. The other unit isn't engaged. I get Glory of Gold on my militants. Awesome. Brilliant. And I've now got a spell on my unit.
Yeah,
I also put Flammable on his Dread Knights. So I'm re-rolling to wound, and I'm strength 4. Brilliant. And I'm +1 AP on that militant unit. That's perfect. So yeah, happy with that outcome. And bear with it on this picture. Bear with me, because this is wrong, and we corrected it pretty soon. My let me think. My Temple Exarch made way to attack first on the Shadow Riders, and I did that straight away, thinking that's fine. My Exarch will kill loads of Shadow Warriors, and then I'll kill the rest of them.
Yeah, sure.
But we removed the models that the Exarch killed, and weirdly, it made the Shadow Riders there. And we were thinking, oh god, does this mean none of my other units attack? Because they're all lower agility than the Exarch. And funnily enough, Ed was playing his round 4 game at the same time, and we bombed his voice chat and said, Ed, this can't be right. I can't not kill the Shadow Riders just because I've killed their back 5. I would lose all my attacks. And he would actually have a very passable break test, or not very passable, but a passable break test.
Sure.
And Ed basically said, no, that's not right at all. Why are you being so silly, you silly people?
Just moving back.
Yeah, and what it was what it basically was that no, you shuffle the unit back, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, we end up re-rolling the hits, I think. Re-rolling the Exarch, because you can see one Shadow Rider is back.
Okay.
So I think we actually went down this line for a bit longer than we should have done. Like, we almost completed the combat doing it wrong.
Sure.
So when Ed corrected us, we redid the combat, and my Exarch did less wounds on the reroll, so killed less, which is just really silly.
Yeah.
And I completely and utterly whiffed my attacks with the militants.
I was going to say.
And that is so ridiculous, because it means that Trent's 2 Shadow Riders attack me, and his horses attack me, and they killed 3 of my 5 Harpies. What is that? What's going on?
Nice.
I mean, it was such. I was rolling so many 2s on my dice at this point when I was wounding on 3s or whatnot. Because I was strength 4. Yeah, I think I was wounding. Oh, I should have been wounding on 2s. Oh, I don't know. It was just so bad.
Yeah.
That, I mean,
flustered.
Yeah. The saving grace, if there is one, is they did run, and my Harpies did run them down. So maybe it doesn't matter.
Sure.
Because I've all
same
I've
thing
lost
happens,
is 3 Harpies.
Yeah,
but yeah,
thing.
It was just so mental. And I decide not to overrun with my militants, because I'm thinking they've got the spell on them, so I can just suck up anything that comes. and roll the overrun with my harpies, etc. And then I go to pivot or reform with my militants, and I realise by 0.5 of an inch, I can't prevent a flank charge from someone, i.e., the unit of dreadnoughts on the right.
Sure.
If I flip that way, whichever way the camera shows, then the dreadnoughts on the right are in my flank. If I go like I am, then the spears are in my flank. And it was like 0.5 of an inch. I realised, oh, I'm in a bit of trouble here. Something is going to charge my flank. And my harpies have only chaffed the warlock acolytes, which really
Could you have gone 8 wide?
Could I have gone 8 wide?
Or wide?
I am 8 wide.
Could you go 9 wide?
I guess I could have gone 9 wide, maybe. That didn't even occur to me, actually. Yeah, maybe that would have been the solution. To get me wider. So it also would have moved me slightly back. Maybe, yeah. I didn't think of that, actually. I might have needed to go even wider, actually. Though,
sure.
I think it was, yeah. You don't really gain a lot from going one wider, do you? So
you can't really see from this, so you might.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, it means I am in a bit of a tricky spot because I'm going to get charged by everything. And yeah, Trent definitely takes it. I weigh up that it's better to have the spears in the flank rather than the dreadnoughts, because the dreadnoughts are agility 7 on the charge. And I haven't got, so they will be. Well, everything is attacking me first, unfortunately.
Sure.
Because they're dreadnoughts and they're dread elves and I'm dread elves. So
yeah,
you know, any advantage I have from being an elf is countered by the fact he is too.
There's no thy enemy as well.
No, thy enemy is not up. Trent prioritised that, which is kind of why I got. He might have even binding scrolled it.
Sure, yeah.
So, but yes, so I am obviously he is flammable, and I'm re-rolling my wounds, but I might not have a lot left to hit with in this scenario. He charges his acolytes into my harpies. I flee it because there isn't really much to gain from that.
Sure.
I don't think he redirects into my militants because that would be very combat res for me. They're less killy. No, he doesn't. He just fails that charge. And yeah, this is the rest of Trent's. Well, that's him completing a charge.
Nice.
Actually. Yeah, it's very good for him. Very good. And my idea to move forward and take the fight to him, you know, he's countercharged with his non-shooting units, and that's he's still got something basically. And I'm about to find out what he's got. Movement-wise, I mucked up the Shadow Riders at the back, and he manages to get out of the Kraken's line of sight, out of the Spear's line of sight. Krasnar does have line of sight to charge at the front of them, the one on the right.
So out of the Spears as well? Cool.
I think so. Well, maybe not actually, but he's definitely out of the Kraken.
Yeah.
So, you know, he was always going to dance around with them.
Sure.
He starts moving some repeater bolt throwers to get better shots on those dreadnoughts and stuff, and the Gorgons aren't scared of anything on that flank, of course. So what have I got? Oh yes,
13.
This is
exclamation mark as well. That's the key here.
Absolutely. You might think
you need to say no more.
You might you might think that this is shooting and magic combined. Oh no. This is him getting enveloping embers off, and me failing to dispel it with all my dice. And he killed 13 militants in one spell. That's pyro for you.
Brutal. You know?
Yeah. I mean, that militant unit was potentially looking at a counter charge. Now it's vastly reduced. His repeater bolt throwers open up and kill 3 of the dreadnoughts. Of course they do. Can't argue with that. His Shadow Riders open up. Oh, by the way, my 3 Black Cloaks did not do a single wound to that war machine because they're incompetent. And so his Shadow Riders just open up and start killing the second unit.
Yeah, sure.
And this is the combat. So, interestingly, Trent goes to town killing a whole load of militants, right? But I have just about enough militants to go as many forward as I can. He's killing the militants, not the slaughter, the divine altar.
Sure.
Which is fine. And there's actually 9 attacks on the slaughter and the exarch, so I've still got some hitting power, even though he's killed all my militants. And because I'm re-rolling to wound, and
Gloria
flaming
Gold, yeah.
and rending banner and everything, and he's re-rolling his armor saves on his dread knights. I put everything into that unit of dread knights that is with his characters, and actually killed the whole unit of dread knights. And that's not a terrible result for that scenario,
Considering,
really.
no.
Yeah, considering I didn't think I'd have a lot left to attack with. Obviously, it does mean I'm heavily losing the combat still, because I've lost so many. And this is the outcome. So no, I don't get away. No, I don't get away. Why is he
Does
not
he
moved very far
overrun
forward?
with the Dread Knights? Probably. They probably catch your unit and
Yes,
then go into
that's
the
probably
unit.
right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Because his spears haven't gone very far, his characters haven't gone very far. But the Swift Stride Dread Knights have indeed overrun to my next militants. And obviously, I don't lose the Harpies as a result either, because they overrun into the militants. Yeah, not that that's much of a game. So here we are. I think this is an overview at the beginning of my turn 3. It's not looking great, as we expect.
Yeah.
Really, I've led a lot of militants already, and don't have a huge lot of opportunity left.
Dread Knights being agility 6 is massive as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's 7 on the charge. I see this as a potential option. So it's a long charge. I'm not going to charge into the Gorgons because they kill me before I struck. And I wasn't. Did I have line of sight into the Dread Knights? I don't think I did. I think purely by like 0.2 of an inch, I couldn't charge into the flank of the Dread Knights. I would have been attacking at the same time, which might not be great. But yeah. So I went for a long charge on the Acolytes, thinking I could overrun into his Manticore. And even with few attacks, I might actually be able to kill his general with that. And the Acolytes as well, and get in his backfield. So, it's a way of...
Spiky Aegis, isn't it?
Yeah, being in his backfield, maybe. I fail it, of course. Oh, no, he flees.
He flees.
He doesn't like that as a way I could get points. And it's the right move. He can easily rally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no problem at all. I charge into his Shadow Riders with the one Kraken that can see, and he flees that as well.
Ooh.
And he took a whole load of damage from going through the Dread Knights and the Forest, DTs.
That's funny.
He's only got 2 left. But funnily enough, Trent actually moved the Shadow Riders and measured it, and they actually ran off the board before he took DTs. And he was like, okay, I'll remove them because they've hit the board edge. I was like, well... Actually, you got to take DTs, and by the time he'd taken DTs, he only had 2 left, and that wasn't off the board.
Yeah.
So, what? I would have rather that they all stayed alive and then ran off the board, and they got their points that way. But no, not to be. So I charged with them as well, because what else are they going to do? And he does go off the board then. So, same result. Just means I can't use my Dread Knights for anything else. Is there any other movement? I think that's just failed charges, etc. And then into... Is that just an overview? Oh, yeah, I've moved my spears around, and my Kraken is just waiting to be shot, really.
Yeah.
He is in a forest, so that might help. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else going on there. I boost this unit like you wouldn't believe, because I've got... I have lost 1 Exarch, but I've technically still got 3 casters.
Yeah.
And I power through a couple of spells, which is awesome. I think Trent stops 1, and I get 2 others off, which is a good magic phase.
Yeah.
So I've got Know Thine Enemy, and I've got Perception of Strength. So I'm actually Strength 5, AP 2 with a Rending Banner, and high Agility. I'm actually higher Agility than he is, so I'll be attacking first. Or at the same time, no, I think it might be... No, I'm attacking first because I'm Agility 7. He should be 7 as well. Not sure. Oh no, we are attacking at the same time. And because I'm so buffed, I wipe the floor with them.
Yeah, man.
Which is awesome. I've got the Exarch with Distracting on. So he's actually hitting me on 4s. And he doesn't do a lot back to me. Which is great.
Gives like 5 or 6 here, doesn't he?
Exactly, yeah, which is nothing really, and that unit now is... I've killed both his Dreadnought units, so yay me.
Yeah.
But obviously it will go into his turn next, and I don't have many militants left. The Harpies rally as well, which is something, so they're kind of by default chaffing his spears.
Sure,
Yeah. So that is. I don't. There's no. I didn't charge him, so I can't overrun. So I'm just going to
Yep.
sit there. Because I killed him to a man, which is awesome. But
What turn
still,
is this? It's like 3, isn't it?
this is my turn 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot left, and it all shoots.
Yeah. That's
I've killed the units that don't shoot.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, which is weird. And yeah, that's an overview how it looks. The end of my turn 3. Into his turn, he charges his Gorgons into the Dread Knights. I flee because I don't want any part of that because they will kill them. Which is fine. He actually catches them.
Oh.
I mean, as if I needed things to go any worse. He rolls really far.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. So have my Dread Knights for free.
Gorgons, mate.
Lovely. I know. Yeah, it should be playing Gorgons if you're playing Dread Elves. Clearly, they are very matchup dependent, but when their matchups work, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff with armor out there. So
Exactly. Yeah. He moves his 2 characters into the flank of my militants so that they can cause problems later. The spears just line up, ready for the harpies and anything else, but he's also claiming the objective here.
I would have just gone in with the. I think he's
he's
being
the harpies. He
being,
is being pretty cautious. Yeah. I mean,
like even with the your militants being buffed up.
Yeah.
His lords, pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely, and they would attack first. Well, I think they would. Yeah, they would because my +2 really agility wouldn't help enough.
He's actually 8 or 9, maybe.
But he doesn't need to get into combat with me. Mate,
no, I suppose he can shoot.
He's got so much shooting. He's just going to evaporate.
I suppose.
So. And the Shadow Riders charged my Black Cloaks that just moved up for fun, and you can see how many Black Cloaks killed. None. My Black Cloaks. Yes, I may have made a mistake in my turn 1. Potentially, but they just aren't wounding with their shots anyway.
They've been spiteful because of that.
Yeah, I think Trent replaced their weapons with like rubber darts or something. Yeah. So
flowers.
The pyro begins. Is that pyroclastic flow?
Yeah, well, that only did 2 wounds, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good start, isn't that? Good start. He actually fireballs the harpies off. I let that go because that's not really one that I want to stop. And the Scort, the flare, whatever it's called, does another wound to Krasnar. This is with another fireball on my militants as well. It looks like he could repeat spell that. Further, this must be into shooting now, I think.
Sure.
Because his repeater bolt throws are shooting, and I'm starting to allocate to my characters.
Yeah.
Because I have to. He does 2 wounds to that guy, and then the unit dies. And 1 wound to my other guy. So that's just. But the other guy is alive, and so going into my he doesn't engage with anything. Doesn't engage with anything. Absolutely, it's totally run away now. I moved my outcast who survived to the flank.
Black Cloaks are dead. I don't know if you said that.
Black Cloaks are very dead. Yeah. Why even mention them?
Yeah.
My Dread Knights have finally made their way around the flank.
Baby.
Do they want to?
Right, guys, we're in position. What's... Oh.
Where's the rest of the army gone?
Oh.
Exactly. Yeah.
Flee?
My Krakens are still fanning out, hoping they might be able to survive. And my Spears as well. The funny thing is, with Spears versus Spears, whoever charges the other attacks last.
Right.
So none of us want the spear on spear combat.
Spears are so good.
I get what's that spell?
A wounded, not Truth of Time.
Oh, I definitely miscast, I think, as well, which is ridiculous.
I do. Yeah. Is this not the hits against the Gorgons? To do 1 wound. So. What's 3 in Cosmo? Is it not?
Oh, it's Ice and Fire. You're right, it is. But I do, yeah. Ice and Fire do 1 wound, I think. No, it doesn't look like I do the wound. I don't know what the wound marker was.
Do.
Oh yeah, obviously pictures are going pretty quickly now because my magic is limited.
Yeah, he's moving up.
He's moving up, ready to shoot everything else and pyro everything else. His Manticore is obviously a problem because it can just fly around and I can't cover every spot now. So there's that. Pyro, the fireball goes and kills him, which is just add insult to injury.
Probably the attribute as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, the attribute kills her instead. So yeah, that's the wrong way around. What's going on? Should have been fireball on the infantry, and but, oh well. Unless I've just forgotten and made a story of it. So into my turn, I actually charged the Furrier of the Gorgons. I think,
Why
punch it,
not?
really.
Why not?
I'm going to kill those Gorgons, damn it. Or kill something.
Get some points.
Yeah. I actually failed a charge on one unit of spears, and he fled it, which I thought was interesting, because he would have been attacking first. So, not sure what he was worried about. But
again, I guess he can just shoot you. He doesn't need to make any risks.
That's it.
Whatsoever. Are Gorgons fearless then?
Yeah, I think they are. So they couldn't play. I could be wrong, but yeah, he didn't play anyway. He probably could have done. Maybe should have done. One Kraken is all I've got left, and these Dreadnoughts are moving up still. They're following the plan.
Yep. Stick to it, boys.
I was actually thinking, Trent's so busy killing everything on the other side, I might be able to charge that War Machine and actually get it.
Sneaky,
yeah. He starts casting magic.
Who?
Oh no, I cast magic actually. Yeah, exactly.
Sneaking up.
I know. I get what is that one? What's the spell that reduces agility? What's it called? Not Twisted Effigy, the other one. On Witchcraft. You know what I mean? The one that reduces stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
It's not going to do a lot though, so why am I even talking? This is ridiculous. The Gorgons obviously get their agility 10 attacks.
There's 6, isn't there?
Yeah.
6 wounded on 4s, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. I kill one Gorgon, but he just turns around and just swishes them. That, I guess that
Let's game, Hendrix.
Absolutely, yeah. And they run the characters down as well.
Gorgons, man.
Rear charging a Gorgon, it's still not a good idea.
That's why I didn't flee. Right.
Yeah, clearly, yeah. And so I don't get the Gorgon points, and he gets my points. I deliver my points to him. And then I don't. In his turn,
he moves around.
Just moves over away.
And he can move the repeated bolt thrower and still shoot, so that's good.
Of course he can. Yeah. I mean, I can't complain about that being OP because I'm playing the same army. I could have just taken what he's taken. So, and I didn't. It's totally different units, really. The Manticore now looks at Kuloth.
Yep.
Of course. Doesn't kill Kuloth, funnily enough. And so in the following turn, turns are skipping, he goes even closer, and this is his last turn. He doesn't need to worry about the counter charge. And he still doesn't kill the Kraken. So he does kill a few Dreadnoughts with some shooting, but not enough to get half points. And there we go. That is how it ends. There's nothing else on the other side of the battle because I'm all dead.
That's it, bro.
And that's it, bro. I got 1 point.
Yes.
I got 1 point.
Which you need a few extra points in 5,000 point battles to get that.
You do.
As well, so.
You do. Funnily enough,
well done.
We worked it out, and Trent had the calculator on Warhol, and Warhol worked it out as a 20-0. And then it was only in the morning when I thought to myself, the margin's different for Warhol. I don't want it being a 20-0 if it hasn't got to be. And I added it up again, and it was a 19-1. So yay me.
There we
go.
So
that the last half hour I made Trent stay up late for where I was running away. I did actually conserve a point.
Right.
So there you go.
Oh, good work, son. Good work.
It was a fun battle. I really enjoyed playing against Trent. He knew how to play his army, or Craig's army. He knew how to play that army. It was perfect against my non-ranged list. Yeah. Maybe I should have taken Pyro with everything to counter it and use the burn.
Sure. Yeah.
But he had a master where it was much more efficient to use it on a large master.
Might have got rid of some Shadow Riders, to be fair.
Shadow Riders, maybe. But he had a Binding Scroll. He would have stopped one of my Pyro spells. I don't know. I kind of just felt like buffing up my militants was a better plan. Yeah. And I did manage to kill both Dreadnoughts. So, in some extent, the points I got was because the militants were buffed up. So, yeah. Really fun battle. I really enjoyed it. I do end up finishing... I think I finished 4th in the group.
Because Ollie wins, didn't he?
Ollie wins against Luke, but because I lost heavily against Trent, Trent goes top of the group, and Luke does just enough to finish second.
On victory points, I think, or secondary points.
It might have been as close as like 1 point or something like that. So, if I had have managed to get more points, no, it wouldn't have mattered if I'd have got points out of Trent because Trent wins the group. But yeah, it was really close, and so I think Ollie finishes like 9th overall in the tournament, so he was happy with that. Yeah. In terms of like ranking places,
because obviously the next it's only the top 8 go through to the quarters.
Indeed. But in the end, I'm a fair way off that because I only finished on 34 points.
Sure.
How it could have been different if I'd gone against Paul's combat list.
Hey.
I might have lost 20-0 there anyway.
Right.
So,
you wouldn't have got the point.
Like,
yeah.
I'm not saying that I would have been.
Pyro still would have been a thing, to be fair.
It still would have been a problem, absolutely. But yeah, anyway. Really good game against Trent. Let me know if you think maybe I stuffed up by sending that militant unit forward too early and getting countercharged by everything. I didn't really see it.
Yeah, interesting to know what other people think was the best play here, because he's got so much shooting and with Pyro
and magic. Yeah, and the Dreadnoughts are really good charging. You know, Lance's agility 7 with characters and Gorgons.
Yeah, so it's almost like it's a good list.
I know. Tell me about it. I mean, you know. Yeah, who came up with it? Anyway, well played, Trent, and good luck for the rest of the tournament. We might.
We've got one last game of Massacre, or is it?
Yes.
I need a big win.
You do.
In the last group game, we'll say.
Yeah, and we'll go on to your one next. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Yes.
If you want to be a Patreon, we would love you forevermore, which we already do, but we'll love you a little bit more if that's possible. We would very much
we'll
appreciate
directly love you.
Make of that what you will. I mean, Tommy T's been very quiet lately. Maybe that's because he's a Patreon and he's getting that extra love.
Yeah, maybe.
You decide.
Yeah. But no, I say if you are on this, check out our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram. All the links are below. Do subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel. In terms of the YouTube algorithms, etc., etc. Good to keep the comments a-flowing.
Let me know what you think of my Dread Elf list as well, because obviously I am out of the tournament now. I want to play Dread Elves imminently. Let me know if you think I should abandon militants and go with the Shadow Riders Spear Corps and repeatable. Basically, should I just take Craig's list now? Let me know what you think of it, or whether you think it's a fun list that I should continue with, because I do enjoy militants. So changes would be welcome, tips, etc. Great, we'll see you for round 4 of Lucky Six's game. Looking forward to that one. All to play for.
It
maybe.
Is, kind of. See you later.